Hello and welcome to this FPL Gameweek 14 transfer plans video with me, Holly Shand. It's been an eventful week in FPL. Erling Haaland has picked up an injury in the Champions League midweek. So what do we do with him in our squads? Do we sell him? Do we keep him? Can we captain him still? I'm going to get that covered in today's video, as well as looking at the deal sheet and also a little Throwback Thursday. Thank you so much for getting me to 15k subscribers. I'm really pleased with that. Keep supporting the channel by giving this video a like. Let's get to 500 likes on this video. Let's get into it. Erling Haaland goes straight into the monitor column of the Game Week 14 deal sheet then, after picking up a foot injury in the Champions League against Borussia Dortmund on Tuesday evening. I was very cynical when I saw the injury news. It seemed like standard Pep making excuses because Manchester City didn't win the game, but as the week's gone on, I've got gradually more concerned with this. Now, the press match conferences after the match said that there was 3 issues for Haaland: tiredness, influenza in his body and a knock in his foot, which caused the half-time substitution. We then got news in the press that he'd gone to the Manchester Institute of Health and Performance for scans and he'd been cleared of serious damage. But since then, we've seen footage of him limping into that appointment, which, you know, he was seriously limping. It wasn't just a little limp. He looked like he was struggling to walk, which does raise a lot of concerns. Now, Manchester City are in quite an advantageous position. They're top of their Champions League group. 3 fairly easy fixtures before the World Cup: Leicester, Fulham and Brentford. Obviously, Haaland isn't going to the World Cup, so he's got a long amount of time there to recover from this issue. But he doesn't need to be risked in the period in between. So, you know, hopefully we haven't seen the end of Haaland until late December, but Pep could easily choose not to risk him during this period. We should get firm news on Friday around 1:30 in Pep Guardiola's press conference. I am going to move my live stream to 1 o'clock on Friday so that hopefully we can encompass that news and it will help with team selection for Game Week 14. But unless Pep rules Haaland out until after the World Cup, I think he just hold him, because I don't think it's that likely that he's going to be out for all of the next 3 games. Literally, if there's any chance of him being in the squad from Game Week 14 to Game Week 16, you want to keep him. You also want to captain him as well, because he's absolutely blown the Premier League apart. He's had 20 attacking returns in 11 games, and even as a substitute, he can deliver. I guess the advice is to make sure that you pick your vice-captain wisely, and I've got a hint on who you should go for in Game Week 14 later in this video, so stay tuned for that one. And make sure that you've got a strong bench as well, which we experienced the hard way last weekend. So I guess the only time that you do anything different is if we get news that Haaland is unavailable for the remaining 3 game weeks. It still becomes a little bit of a difficult situation of, do you hold him or do you sell him? He currently at 12.2 million. He's risen in price by 0.7 million since the start of the season. So if you bought him at 11.5 or 11.6 and you now sell him, you're set to lose 0.3 million in team value, because you're inevitably going to buy him back for after the World Cup break. Now, he will probably lose value in that time in between. Remember that the prices are frozen during the World Cup break. He could go down 0.1 or 0.2 before then if he's not involved at all, and it could allow you to bring in someone like Harry Kane, who could be a good vice-captain pick or a captain pick against Bournemouth in Game Week 14 and Leeds in Game Week 16. So if that situation materialises, it comes down to team value of whether you should hold him or whether you should gamble and sell him for Kane. Right now, I'm struggling to spend all the funds in my FPL squad, so I think I would sell if Pep came out this weekend and said he's out until after the World Cup. But if that's not the case, hold him, play him, captain him, and hope for the best that he's involved in the squad and involved and getting us fancy points once again. Looking at the wider deal sheet then, controversially, Mitrovic is on the buy list, even though he's got 2 tricky fixtures in his next 3, but it's Everton up next. He is fixture proof. He's basically scoring a goal a game this season. We saw at the start of the season how clinical he was, even with difficult fixtures, and it's Everton up next. He's an easy buy, especially if you're a Dominic Solanke owner. He limped off against West Ham on Monday, left the stadium in a protective boot, having sustained an ankle injury, so so I think it's a good time to make that switch. Moving into midfield, Almiron is on the buy list. He's the highest scoring player in FPL since the international break, and if you're a Pascal Gross owner who's really struggled in recent games to make any attacking attempts in this Brighton squad, I think that could be an easy switch. Salah on the monitor list scored another goal in the Champions League on Wednesday night. I think now, given the injury to Haaland and, the fact that Salah could be a good vice-captain pick in the coming games, or even a captain pick if Haaland is out, you kind of need to hang on to him. He's playing in a very good Liverpool attack. He's on penalties. We know from previous seasons that he's a consistent goal scorer. We need a captain pick with Haaland maybe injured. So now, if you have Salah, hold on to him. Whether you buy him or not is more of a tricky situation, and he's not the easiest player to get to as the most expensive player in the game. That's why he's on the monitor list. Moving into the defence then, Ben White, obviously in my transfer team selection video I said that I was looking to buy Ben White this week. I think he could be a very good option. He's a great enabler, has gone up in price, but he's still very cheap. He looks nailed on in that Arsenal defence. 2 good fixtures in their next 3 to end the season, and he has looked a little bit more attacking in recent games as well, which is good to see. Perisic continues to deliver in the Champions League, which means his chances of getting in the Spurs squad in the Premier League are slim. So right now, for me, he's a sell. You need 15 players in your squad to play FPL, especially when there's injuries cropping up elsewhere. Perisic is just a liability. You don't know whether he's going to start. He's not getting enough attacking returns either, so he's on the sell list. And monitor Timothy Castagne at Leicester City. 4 clean sheets in 5 for Leicester. Castagne, with an early sub, has managed to pick up 5 clean sheets in 5. Obviously, Man City next. You're not going to want to play him in that game, but he is a good price, particularly for the final 2 game weeks of the season. So he's one to keep an eye on in your future transfer plans. And then at the back, the goalkeeper slot, I still think Kepa is a really good buy. He's going to be really popular on unlimited transfers during the World Cup break, so get in early, hopefully catch a price rise or 2. Sanchez on the sell list. We haven't seen enough defensive consistency from Brighton with Graham Potter gone. And on the monitor list, we've got Dean Henderson. Tricky fixture this week for Nottingham Forest, but he did put in a great performance against Liverpool. 2 clean sheets in 2 now for Nottingham Forest. We have seen massive improvement from them, reflecting what we saw with Leicester a few weeks ago. And if that continues, then Dean Henderson is going to be a fantastic FPL buy. Now, a little throwback for you this Thursday and our potential saviour for captaincy with Haaland doubtful. This man is going to be my vice-captain this week, Mo Salah. He's got 5 goals in 4 games in all competitions, which is really encouraging from him. And it's Leeds at home next, a fixture which he's excelled in over the last 2 seasons. In 4 appearances against them, he's got 6 goals and 1 assist, and he's actually managed at least 3 attacking returns in both of the home fixtures against Leeds. So I think the stars are starting to align. Klopp's tweaking his formation to get his best out of Salah. Confidence is a massive thing for him as well. So I'm very happy that I am still a Salah owner, and he's very likely to get the vice-captain for me this week. So when it comes to transfer plans, I have had a little bit of a change of heart this week. I discussed in my video on Monday of selling Lewis Dunk for Ben White, which is a solid transfer, but the weakest player in my squad right now is Emerson, who hasn't got a starting place in the West Ham lineup. And Tomiyasu has come in as a potential option. He started the season at 4.5 million, was injured and didn't play. He's now just 4.2 million, and he is getting starts in that Arsenal defence on one of the flanks. He is a little bit of a rotation risk, which does cause a little bit of concern. But for 4.2 million, you can't really do much better than Tomiyasu right now. So I am looking to sell Emerson and bring in Tomiyasu, but I'm not going to make that move until Friday after the press conferences, when we've heard about the Haaland injury situation. We've still got Europa League games tonight as well, but that's my planned transfer. I am going to keep Haaland unless Pep says he's out till the World Cup. I am still going to captain him as well, but my vice-captain is Mo Salah against Leeds at home. I think Haaland, it's a likely situation that either he'll start or he won't be in the squad at all, in which case we've got Salah as a very good vice-captain pick. And that Andreas Pereira, who I really wanted to start this week with that Everton game on current form, can come in for Haaland if he doesn't play this week. But I don't want to sell him if there's any chance he's going to be available for game week 15 or game week 16. Now, my Friday live stream, I'm moving to the later time of 1 o'clock to encompass Pep Guardiola's press conference, so we know what to do about Haaland. I will make that transfer after those press conferences as well, so you'll see my final game week 14 team reveal. Help me get to 500 likes on this video, subscribe to the channel as well and hit that notify button. That'll let you know whenever I go live, and I will do my best to answer all of the comments within the first 24 hours of this video going live. So let me know in the comments your transfer plans, what you're going to do about captaincy. Are you going to go with Haaland? Are you going to go with Salah? Good luck everyone for FPL Game Week 14.